Hello to all my retro video game friends out there. I hope that everyone is having a great day. This is our first video on the channel. I'm excited to start this channel. It's all going to be all about retro video games. You kind of guessed it. We're talking about Atari, Nintendo, Coleco, all of the old stuff. We'll dig into it throughout this channel. So I'm really excited to kind of go back to a childhood passion of mine. And today I'm going to talk about why a lot of 40-year-olds, 35 to 45-year-olds, really I'm 40, so I fall into that 40 bucket, are buying retro video games and why they're getting back into retro video games. Before I start, please hit the subscribe button. If you like what you hear, hit the like button, and then also karate chop the notification bell, as my son and daughter like to say. We'll go ahead and dig right into it. All right, guys, with retro video games and a lot of collectibles in general these days, we are seeing a massive nostalgia spike. I can speak directly to it. I joke around that this is part of my midlife crisis. My wife laughs about that, but it's really kind of true. I think that we're all kind of looking for more of a simpler time, kind of when things were just, pre-internet back in the 80s. I grew up in the mid to late 80s. In Panama City, Florida is when I got my start into video games. And, that is what I think a lot of people like myself are searching for these days. And so, I started out personally, my first family computer was the Commodore 64. My buddy down the street actually had a Commodore 128. They were really ritzy. But we had a Commodore 64, and I remember my favorite game, floppy disk, of course. And the first time I learned to kind of have to maneuver, blowing into the game, blowing into the drive to get it to work. The game was Mail Order Monsters. This is a fantastic game. When I was a kid, it was just so much fun. And actually, what's kind of helped, thank God for YouTube, because on YouTube I can actually go and see this game again being played, and it's a really fun game, and kind of got such a nostalgic feel for the playthroughs and stuff that we see here on YouTube for a lot of these older video games. But the Commodore 64 was the first family computer, so that was technically my first foray into video games, was this Commodore 64. And then I believe it was it was definitely Christmas, but it was 88, I believe, maybe 89, but I'm pretty sure it was 88. I got a Nintendo Entertainment System. Didn't get any of the extra games with it at that point. I got of course, Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt came with the system that I got, and I played that for forever. And what was great too is, middle class family, we were not out buying every game that came out, and fortunately with friends kind of in the neighborhood, one would have Castlevania, the other one would have Mario Brothers 2 or whatever, and so you could kind of go back and forth between friends' houses to be able to play certain games. We also had a Video 98 was our video rental store in Panama City, Florida. I don't think it's still there, unfortunately. It was the old VHS, it was pre-Blockbuster. This was my local video store, and they had games there. VHS, they had NES games, but what was great though about this is it allowed me and my family too, for a few dollars, to just try before you buy type thing. And there was a lot of games that I rented there, and I was like, oh man, of course I'm an 8-year-old, so I was thinking like, man, this is awesome. I played it for 2 days and it was like, this isn't that awesome. So instead of my family spending $30, $40 on a game, sometimes even more, and this was back in the late 80s, I was able to try it out, see if it was something for us, and if it was great, and if it wasn't, it wasn't. But that was kind of my first foray into it. Again, a time where didn't really think about anything other than playing video games, riding bikes, and playing sports with my buddies outside. That was really kind of the summers, back in those mid to late 80s, going fishing with my dad. So these are kind of those moments that I look back to where it's like easy times, and this is a part of it. And so I'm excited to kind of talk more about this. One thing that's been really great too is now you have people are collecting these games, and this isn't a new thing. People have been collecting them, but it's something that I'm learning more and more about, getting back into it. People are collecting cartridges. They're collecting the complete in-box systems and games. So it's literally the old box art, which I think is so awesome, especially for me personally. I'm looking to collect those first 30 black box NES games. I think that they're outstanding. You know, we look at like CryptoPunks as like the new kind of NFT space. And to me, when I look at a CryptoPunk, I think, you know what? The original CryptoPunks were these black box NES games, you know, where you had the original 8-bit, you know, characters. It's just, it brings me back to just such an amazing time. But there are still games that survive, that have the boxes. I've seen, they're on eBay, the old NES games. And now there's also grading companies. There's WATA and there's VGA. There might be others, but those are the two main companies that I've found. And they are grading these to kind of show at what point the production was for certain games based on the box, based on trademarks, based on, you know, how the box looks. And then, of course, the condition quality of the cartridge, of the box, of the manual. So really, really fun collecting time for video games. And I really hope to kind of see more and more people get into this. I have friends of mine that are also looking at this as well. Like, oh my gosh, I remember this. This is so cool that you can still get these games in the box. And I can't agree more. It just, you know, the box art from back then is incredible. And it's also just, again, you look at it and it brings you back to a great time for a lot of us, you know, during our childhood. How did you get back into retro video games, or is it something that you've been kind of doing all along since your childhood, kind of collecting here and there and still playing the games? That's another awesome facet of this, is being able to go kind of find these games and play them again after so long. So tell me kind of how you're hobbying in this space. I would really like to learn from you all. I want to build community with this channel, and we will continue to put out videos each week. It won't be once a week. I'm going to try to do maybe 2 or 3 videos a week to start with, and we'll see if we can move it up to more of a daily thing. But guys, thank you so much for joining me here today, and I will see you again next time.